Hi everybody, I'm Jack Jinseki, and joining me today is Jono Funk, who is an independent VTuber. Jono, welcome to the show.
Hello, thank you so much for inviting me. Yes, I'm Jono Funk, the Eternal Optimist, and I'm here to make people laugh and have a great time.
So, yesterday you released a new cover song. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Okay, I've been absolutely obsessed with the epic musical, which is it's based on the poem of Odyssey. So it's following the story of Odysseus, but the creator of this musical is taking it and releasing the story as a series of music albums. And his latest album is the Thunder Saga involving Zeus, and that song was right in my vocal range. So I was like, I have to do this. So yeah, I'm singing as Zeus, and it was an absolute blast.
And you released a stream yesterday where you basically talked about all of the technical details that went into it. Uh, it I'm discovering very quickly that you're very much the perfectionist type of personality. You got like everything is you like just hearing you talk about the sound production issues, just trying to get that extra little edge to go into the audio quality. It's obvious that you took a lot of time and effort to make it just how you wanted it.
Yeah, I when it comes to making content, I want to deliver the best because I want people to to enjoy what I make. And also I've been receiving so much support from my community that I feel like I have to give back in some way, and the best way I can do it is to try and push as far as I can go. There was an expression I came across recently which really has like sort of reshaped the way I view what I do. And the saying is going, when you're good at something, you tell everybody about it. But when you're great at something, everybody comes to tell you about what you've done. So that's what I'm aiming for. I don't want my content to just be good. I want my content to be great. So I'm pushing really hard.
It's interesting because I'm an engineer, and a lot of the things that I encounter at my job, I encounter a similar not professional, perfectionism. And one of the things that I love seeing that I think is funny is when an engineer will find a small detail that literally nobody on the planet would ever notice ever, and they have to alter it. And it's not even necessarily a problem, but they need to alter it to make it just so the way that they want it. And that's kind of the sense that I got from you yesterday when you were talking about it.
Yeah, that's the power of like 1%, the 1% rule. It's also how I sort of follow my life, where if you try to get better at something 1% every day, by the end of the year, that's 136% improvement. So, and that's per year. So if you're always striving to just fix just one little thing, one thing little better every way, like 1,000 little choices like that adds up to make something incredible, I think.
I remember hearing a similar theory about that. Everyone talks about this book. I haven't read it yet. Atomic Habits. Have you ever heard of that?
I've heard of it, but I haven't got around to it.
Yeah, and they're like the book posits that little tiny changes towards effective to good behaviors leads to large increases over time.
Mhm.
And
I definitely agree with that. It's kind of like karma, in a sense, but not in more like a probability kind of thing. If you're kind to people and you help people, then people want to help you and see you succeed. Whereas if you're a jerk, then people want to see you fail, or worse, they'll try to actually trip you up. So yeah, like that.
so, when did you discover that you liked entertaining people? When did you discover that you wanted to do entertainment?
Basically, it's ever since I was tiny, tiny. I think I did a nativity play when I was in preschool,
Yep.
and what's it? I I messed up my lines. Instead, I was like one of the three kings. So instead of saying I bring frankincense, I said I bring Frankenstein, and the entire like room full of adults just burst into laughter. And basically, ever since then, I've been acting on the stage. Like I grew up in theater. So yeah.
Hey, if you're gonna make a mistake, that is the perfect mistake to make because everybody gets it immediately. What just happened?
Yep, the scuff. I was blessed and cursed. I was blessed by the scuff from day one.
So that's entertainment. But what about VTubing specifically? What made you want to be a VTuber?
Oh my goodness. I was watching. I discovered Corone from HoloLive
Mm-hmm.
back in around 2018 or so. And I looked at this and I thought, well, I love anime, and this is incredible tech, and this is gonna blow up once it gets to like the English side of things. So I
Yes.
started working on my model design back in 2019. So yeah, I was planning on being a VTuber for almost 5 years ago, 5, 6 years ago.
Wow. I remember. I think the first one I saw was Gura, and
Oh yeah.
I saw that and I was like, I you watch cartoons as a kid, and I always kind of imagined what would I be like if I was in this cartoon. And so
Mhm.
I think that certain people just have an innate desire to sort of be a cartoon at some capacity, if that makes any sense.
Yeah,
And
that's escapism, right? You want to go to that other world, or you want to be part of that world, kind of thing. Yeah.
yeah, and so I was like, wow, it must be incredible to do that sort of thing, to be able to achieve that level of escapism. So I was curious from day one. Of course, I didn't possess the resources to make it happen back then, but hey, sometimes you just got to give it a go.
Yeah.
Uh,
At the end of the day, content's king, right? As long as you continue to make great stuff, then people will come to it.
Absolutely. So what's your process for creating any one of your characters?
Oh, okay, yes. So every single one of my models is a different species from a fantasy world I've been building out for the past almost 10 years now. So the idea was that I was going to use my YouTube channel, my VTubing channel, as a way of introducing people into this story world that I've been building so that people could get invested in how the world works, and maybe, check out the books one day when I get around to writing them eventually. So yeah, every single model of mine is a different species, and I try to look at um, what would be a different twist on which models I already have out. So
Hmm.
yeah.
And do you think your personality changes dependent on which model you're using in any given moment?
Yes, that was actually by design. I wanted to sort of take the character of Jono Funk, and then every different species accentuates a certain emotional type or behavior pattern. Because again, acting, I love trying to see how I can push myself with my acting. So base Jono is obviously base Jono, but
Yeah.
if we switch to the Dog Boy, Dog Boy is like the most hyper. He's also considered the most evil of them all. But it's actually because his bark is louder than his bite. So he's projecting to try and make himself look more threatening. But yeah, I love that. It allows me to sort of, it also lets me sort of vary things up with stream. So if I'm feeling in like a hyper mood, I'm gonna go Dog Boy. If I'm feeling in more of a devilish mood, I'll switch to the devil.
And so when you're planning out a stream in advance, you're like, oh, well, this character would work very well with this particular game.
Yes, exactly like that. For like some of the more hardcore and like sweaty games, then yeah, I feel like the devil helps me sort of perform a little bit better, because the devil is supposed to be a bit more slow with his word choice, a little bit more cunning, conniving. So it gives me a little bit more breathing room to focus on the intensity of the combat.
Yes. And so I assume that you've been using the devil a lot with your Doom gameplay.
Oh yes, absolutely. That's my go-to with Doom Eternal. Oh my goodness, it's hard.
So where did the inspiration for the devil come from?
So the base model of John of Funk is actually a seraph, which is kind of like a six-winged angel type species. And the idea with the devils was to sort of invert that, but I didn't want to go like just you know, good and evil kind of thing. I wanted the devils to have a bit more depth to them. So it's not that the devils are innately evil, but it's rather that they are essentially the worst aspects of humanity. So imagine a super lawyer, politician, cunning, ambitious, and like slightly hedonistic.
Oh boy. Uh, and about one, there's another name that crops up on your channel occasionally, especially when you use the Batsu wheel. What was the origin of Marin?
All right. So So Marin,
Marin.
yeah, Marin, it's okay. Either way,
Darn
right?
it.
Um,
I've made the same exact mistake twice in a row. Come on.
that's all good. It's all good. So yeah, whenever my character switches eyes to the sort of the pinkish hue, that's essentially when Marin's taking over. And Marin is essentially the sort of succubi slash incubi species of my world, and they're an interesting take because I wanted to explore narratively the idea of good and evil versus nature, right? Because doing good and doing evil is like is in a sense a matter of perspective,
Mhm.
and the world that I built out has had a whole bunch of species that have had sort of like humanity's influence forced upon them. So, like all of the magical species were actually like primal animals that then got turned into humanoids. So the sort of narrative exploration that I want to do is how what happens when your nature is sort of considered evil by everyone else, but you have to be evil in order to survive, literally. So the whole story with Marin and sharing the body with Jono, because the succubi sort of infect people. They're parasites of the soul, right? So they're essentially parasites. And so the idea that I wanted to showcase is that um, even though like these parasites are considered essentially evil by everyone for obvious reasons, there are still methods from which they can coexist in a sort of positive or symbiotic type relationship. So that's essentially what I wanted to do with the Marin character. It also narratively allows Jono to have a sort of second pair of eyes. So if I'm really, 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 really struggling in a game, I can switch out to Marin and just be like, okay, guys, I have to shut up for a minute. Let me focus.
And plus, in terms of VTuber avatars, Marin has probably been the easiest one for you to make. Just
Exactly. All I have to do is ask for a pink eye toggle.
there you go. And speaking of models, have you ever considered making a 3D model?
Ooh, yes, that is on my wish list, on my Christmas wish list. But it's a sort of a catch-22, right? Because I want to continue introducing new species, but at the same time, I also want to go back and upgrade some of the older models
Yeah.
because base Jono doesn't have legs. He's legless. So now everybody's making jokes that the devil is just nothing but legs. So yeah, I do want to go 3D at some point. I
Yeah.
um I just have to figure out a way because I've never done a donation stream even
Hmm.
after 3 years. And if I do, I want it to be, something meaningful. Like I want to make it like really special. So
Yeah.
yeah, if I would ever go 3D, I would probably have some kind of like big event surrounding that. So yeah.
It might be an idea to like have some sort of basic thing in place from the beginning, and so that way you can show people exactly what it is that you're working up towards. Although then again, I suppose that base Jono would be the example itself. So
Yeah, I'm actually aiming to for like the Jono 2.0 is I want to try and match my cover art, my banner art.
mhm.
I've been in talks with the original artist for that one. But they're very busy because they're working on with like the Fate series. So, they're
Wow.
they have somewhat like very important clients.
Yeah.
So yeah, I check in with them once a year, be like, "Hi, you free now?"
And I should be able to get to you in 2030.
Yeah, maybe right about there. There we go. You heard the leaks now. Jono 2.0, 2020.
So one of the thread that connects both of us is Tier Noir.
Yes.
Because Tier Noir is, well, first of all, the first VTuber that I've ever, first of all, the first VTuber I've ever given money to, which I think is significant. But
Mhm.
he's the first one that I've ever really followed closely. Um, and I know that you've known him for some time. So how did you first meet Tier Noir?
We were introduced by a mutual friend, Nick Nitro.
Ah,
He's a
yes.
musician on he does a lot of Undertale music,
Hmm.
and yeah, Nick said, "Hey, Jono, I want to introduce you to a friend of mine, and I think the two of you will get along." So the three of us entered into a call, and Tier and I got along instantly. instantly we just started chatting and chatting and chatting, and Nick just kind of went quiet. And then like an hour later, we're like, "Oh, Nick, you're still here. We're so sorry." Like we just got along. Nick was like, "No, no, no, carry on, you two carry on. I'm glad you're getting along." So yeah, the three of us have been buddies ever since. Like we got along just like yeah, tier like um if I were to describe the relationship in like sort of like a familial sense, then like Nick is gives off like a lot of big brother energy, and Tier is kind of like a twin. Like Tier is essentially like the twin that I never had. Maybe not identical twins, but very similar twins.
Oh, that's cool. Uh, what was the first anime TV show that you ever watched?
Ooh, that's a tough one because technically Pokemon is an anime, but it was in English. If I were to go the first Japanese anime, then I would say it was Naruto. What's it? A couple of friends were passing around some DVDs at a LAN, and that was my first ever experience of anime. It was the Neji versus Hinata fight in the Chunin exams,
Yep.
and I was just like, wait. There's cool action. It's animated. There's cool action. There's blood, and they have cute character designs. Sign me up.
You you are very very closely mirroring my first experience with anime. No,
Yeah.
because obviously, most of us watched Pokemon, but we don't really count it because it was kind of a phenomena all on its own. My first experience with anime was the TV show. In Japan, it's known as Detective Conan, but they did a dubbed version called Case Closed, and that appeared on a program block called Adult Swim on Cartoon Network at 5:30 in the morning, which
Oh.
yes. So I got up every morning that summer. I watched the end of Lupin the Third, which was okay, and then I watched Case Closed, which was it just blew my mind because I was like, it's a cartoon, but it has blood and death. Well, sign me up.
Yeah. Basically, you're always curious about things you can't have. So that's basically what anime did. It's just like, you want blood and violence to have blood and violence. We're going back to the gladiators.
And then I actually discovered Naruto shortly after that, which was also, a huge. What do they call that?
It was a huge phenomenon. Yeah. Come on, we got to get to Area 51 without Naruto running.
God, I forgot all about that. So, in terms of your VTubing career, do you find any difficulty balancing your VTubing career with your actual main source of income career?
Hmm. It's both, a blessing and a curse. I think having a financial stability is a top priority for everyone, right? You should always make sure that your home situation is safe, right? So I don't know if I would ever go like full time VTubing, like 100% into it, because I feel like it's that at any moment YouTube could change its rules and suddenly your channel is gone, right? That's happened to a couple of people where they've just lost like years of their life's work, just snapped, Thanos
Of
style.
course.
So I feel like, I want to put more time into my channel, but at the same time, I also, understand adult responsibilities.
Yeah.
So it also, it enables me to sort of purchase models on my own way. That's why I haven't had to do any donation streams, because, I'm sort of financing everything on my own, and everything that everybody gives to the channel is always going right back into the channel. So
Yeah.
I don't really see myself like trying to sort of profit from this, but rather, I'm essentially just growing something here, and everybody's sort of like helping me do that. Um,
Mm.
one of my other models, the elf model. Whoops, what the heck just happened? There we go. The elf model, right, is probably my most expensive model,
Mm.
but what's it? I absolutely love this one too. It's it was only possible because I was working a full-time job, because yeah.
Hmm.
So as much as I would love to go full time, I think I would rather work two jobs, and the second job being my channel, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm greedy, okay? That's my sin. My aspect is greed. I want the best. I want to give the best.
Oh boy.
I mean, you could say greed is ambition if you want to be like more positive spin on it.
Greed I find to be the least offensive of the seven deadly sins.
I'm glad I'm not offensive. But yeah, I'm not greedy. I'm ambitious. Anyway,
Greed, for lack of a better word, is good.
man, that cheat code from Age of Empires.
What?
No, Age of Empires, Warcraft 3, right? Greed is
No,
good.
no, that was greed is good came from a movie called Wall Street.
Oh, but it's also a cheat code in Warcraft 3, if I'm remembering correctly. It's
They
been a long
they
time.
they probably took it from Wall Street.
True. Very true.
It's the biggest line to come out of that movie. It's a decent movie though. Uh,
Hmm.
so, when did you receive your first fan art?
Ooh, actually, it was right near the start. I received quite a couple of fan art from people celebrating my debut.
Oh.
So I said I have a lot of artist friends,
Mm-hmm.
wonderful, talented people, really skilled. The Devil Jono was drawn by my friend Vitch. So what's it? I like to sort of commission a lot of my art friends to sort of help with the channel. So that way, I'm trying to keep everything sort of feeling well, I guess the best way to describe it is wholesome, right? Because if the art is coming from people who are in chat and interacting with the community, then everybody goes, "Oh wow, that art's amazing!" Right? It
Yeah,
spreads the love everywhere.
of course. And things that are made because people love them always have that additional quality to them.
Yeah, that's it. I do get some cursed fan art. For
Well,
some reason, people are obsessed with putting me in dresses. I
but
don't know.
even that, since you know where it came from, you can still appreciate that sort of thing, even though it's obviously cursed. It's and meant to be cursed. It still has that like people give a crap. It's
Exactly. It makes chat laugh, and I think that's the main goal. That is the main goal
yes,
of the channel. So I think everyone's sort of leaning into that at that point. Also, one more thing before you ask your next question.
yes,
You know that I roasted Filian like a few months ago, 2 months ago.
I did
She
see that.
accidentally roasted me because she said this model looks like I have a beard. The back hair looks like I got a beard on this model. I can never unsee it now. Curse! Curse! That's fair. That's fair. I roasted her really well. So, if she says that I look like this model's got a beard, I have to live with that. It's a fair trade.
It's kind of like when you see like those pictures of what a cartoon looks like if you look at it directly in the face. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? You can't unsee it. It's there. It's in your head forever.
Mhm.
So you mentioned your debut. What went into your debut exactly? Anyway.
I spent the like last 48 hours working nonstop on trying to make everything myself, which in hindsight was not a smart idea. I think I got it into my head that I had to do everything myself. And now I've realized it's okay to reach out to professionals. It's okay to commission people who are way better skilled because the end result is, a higher quality production for everybody to enjoy.
Of
So
course.
like a lot of my sort of beginning like assets and stuff, I literally made 2 days before I went with my debut. And then I stuck with that for, months and months and months because there's nothing more permanent than a temporary solution. um, so yeah, I in hindsight, I wish I had sort of just reached out and commissioned somebody who knew what they were doing for like more of the art side of things. Um, but I eventually did that, and my channel's production values have reached a point where I'm very happy with them, and that's saying a lot because I'm very picky when it comes to to my quality of production.
Also, dude, did you just quote Milton Friedman?
I don't think I meant to do that by accident. I don't think I did. I didn't mean to.
No, 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 no. I love Milton Friedman. So someone quotes, I'm like, oh, cool.
An accidental quote then.
Oh boy. Oh, what was it? But the thing is that I think that it's if you're gonna make a product, it's a good idea to actually know what goes into making the product. So, for example, I didn't draw this asset. I didn't draw my model. I commissioned that out. But before I commissioned it, I said, okay, I want to learn the basics of what artistry actually takes in order to do it. And so I spent a little time learning to draw some basic things until I was confident that I could draw something that resembled something else. And then I put all of my efforts into going into the artistic elements that I wanted to go into this model. And so when I came out, what I used to do in the past when I commissioned an artist is I gave them very vague instruction, but I wanted to give them very specific instruction that made sense. And so I felt that learning to do those things, even though I wasn't very good at them, ultimately allowed me to create something better in the long run. And so
Absolutely. Yeah, I think having a broad knowledge, but then also mastering some skills is the best like approach to life because then you get like a better understanding of things. Yeah.
so I would say that if you went in trying to create your own assets in the first place, you were actually doing it the right way, even if you're not doing it that way anymore.
Yeah. I mean, it is everything is a learning experience, right? Like I believe that as long as you like don't make a mistake a second time, then it's not really a mistake because you've learned from it, you've improved. So yeah. I just consider this one big learning journey because I'm making mistakes all the time. That's my excuse, okay?
So, do you have any plans for where you'd like your entertainment career to go in the future?
I'd like to hit 1 million subscribers. Let's start off with 2,000 though. But in all seriousness, I love the sort of freedom and flexibility of being an independent creator because I like having, as you noticed, control over my production. Um, if I were to join an organization, it would have to be for like a very good reason.
Yeah.
So I would have to put in a lot of thought about it because I love my community as well. So I don't want to like sort of chase them away, like disappear one day. Um, but as for entertainment career, I'm looking at voice work as well as potentially seeing if I can audition for a few more things. I work in the film, game, and anime industries a little bit, so yeah, like one a project I've been working on recently is getting a Netflix adaptation. So it's cool to think that something that I wrote and built out a little bit is now going to show up in a production sometime. So that's cool.
I can't even begin to imagine. I mean, I get excited over having just one picture made, and then to have like an entire animation made based around your ideas. That must be incredible.
Yeah, but that's my. I think that would be the best way I could describe like maybe my life goal, my dream goal is I want to essentially sort of see my fictional world realized like as a maybe like a full blown anime series or TV series.
Hmm.
I would absolutely love that. So yeah, we'll put it that way. That's the goal. That's the goal. We'll turn Soros into its own like anime series.
And you're writing a book to that effect, aren't you?
Well, I promised my viewers I would have a book out by 2024, and I've got what 4 months, 4 months left. So
3.5.
I got the outline for the story, so I've just got to sit down and write like 1,000 words a day. I can do it. I can do it.
I try. I've tried writing so many times, and all I can do is like short form poetry because I can do that in one sitting in 1 hour.
It's fun though. It's quite cathartic, I think.
It really is. Writing is very rewarding. Uh, One of the other parts of your career that you mention very frequently is you worked for Riot Games. You mentioned.
Yes. Yes, I got to work absolutely wonderful people, but it was not easy getting in.
Yeah.
9,000 people applied for that position, and there were
Wow.
16 interviews, and I had gigantic imposter syndrome because when I finally like got selected, and I sort of asked my manager, and I was like, "So what made you select me?" And they basically said it was all the things I did in my spare time at university because I basically ran the sort of like gaming society club, like the gaming club,
Mm-hmm.
and I was also sort of like the vice chairperson for the anime club, and I essentially organized a huge amount of LANing events as well as esports tournaments between universities, and essentially they were like we could see that while you were focusing on your studies that you were really trying to build communities and create something positive and trying to sort of bring the gaming esports scene into a more traditional setting, but as like part of the sporting events between universities. So they said that was what took an interest between them. So my love for like the community building and forming and all of that has been a long running thing.
And one of the other things I notice about your streams is that bits of your experience in that profession kind of leak into your games. So I'll see you'll be like playing a game, and then you'll kind of ask yourself, what would I do if I had designed this game, in order to figure out where to go or what to do next.
Yes, I actually got to chat with a lot of the champion designers. I even pitched a champion to them. And a fun thing is that I pitched an entire character idea, like ability sets, the game design, the theme design, the character design, all of that. I sort of created and pitched. And then they release a character that's eerily similar, and I'm like, did they go back and look at my old stuff? So I'm not gonna claim it as my own, but where every time I look at it's Vex, the champion. Every time I see Vex, I'm just like, yay. so, so yeah, I feel very happy when I see it. Not like because the my ideas may have been used, but rather that my ideas were deemed good enough for like final product, if that makes sense. That somebody came up with the same idea as mine and it got through to final production. So it's sort of like a nice confidence boost going, okay, yes, I can come up with good designs. And yeah.
it it's so incredibly validating when you have an idea and you're like, am I crazy or is this a good idea? And then somebody else comes along and basically just says, yeah, it's a good idea and we're gonna do it.
Yeah. uh but I absolutely loved working there. They were some of the nicest people I've ever met. Like everybody was super friendly, and yeah, I hope they've been doing well. Like I try to keep up, but I've met so many people in my life. It's hard to keep track of it because when you're in the entertainment industry, you meet hundreds to thousands of people. I
Yeah.
I have a moment where I walked into a theater that I hadn't been in for like 10 years, and the person selling the tickets behind the counter went, Jono, it's been so long. How are you? And I'm like, hey, you.
Hey, guy.
I'm like, I'm here to watch the show. And they're like, oh no, don't worry about buying tickets. We got some spare ones here. Here, have some tickets for you and your partner. Here you go. Go. And I'm like, thanks. Oh my goodness.
Thanks. Sorry, I don't know who you are.
I felt so guilty. But yeah, you end up meeting like thousands of people, so it's hard to sort of keep that sort of web of connections like going strong. But I'm the kind of person that my opinions of someone doesn't change with time. So like I have a friend I haven't chatted to in also like 10 years, but I still consider them one of my closest friends. Because yeah, that's it. It's the most important thing is the bonds you make. So, yeah.
Absolutely. What advice would you give to someone who wants to work in the entertainment industry?
Hmm. The two pieces of advice I would give you. One, you have to be very good with your people skills. You have to know like how to interact with people because it's very much a collaborative industry. You can't do everything alone. Your work, like when you see a movie or a TV series or anything, it is a million choices being made by hundreds or if not 1,000 people working together to try and put that, to create the final product. So you have to understand that what you do and how you behave impacts not just yourself, but also potentially the careers or impacts of everybody else working together to try and make it happen. So people skills is a very important thing, and that's where the whole industry is built on connections type of thing, because when people have proven themselves as reliable, then you're more likely to find work. So I would say that that's a big one. The second one is also you need confidence. And the joke that I make, in the sense quite a few people make, is that the con in confidence, in confidence, you have to be a con because you got to believe in yourself first. You have to be your first fan. You have to be your first true believer. Because if you don't believe in yourself, how can other people, right? So you have to like basically understand that if you want to achieve something, you got to go for it. You got to believe in yourself. You got to commit to it. So yeah, those are the two advice I would give. Believe in yourself, and be a decent person and somebody that people will want to work with, right? So yeah.
Absolutely. So, for this next part of the interview, I'm going to move on to what I'm going to refer to as the non sequitur questions. And
All right.
it's basically just going to be questions that are little curiosities that I kind of like to know about people. So, first of all, pick one, Elvis or the Beatles?
Elvis, the king of rock, baby. Hail to the king.
Okay, you're on a boat with friends. What musical artist are you listening to?
Ooh, I'm gonna cheat here, and I'm gonna say Nick Nitro because he's my buddy, and his music's awesome.
So, are you going to be listening to his recordings, or are you going to demand that he play on the boat itself?
Oh, I would love to watch Nick play live.
Okay, RoboCop or Iron Man?
Iron Man. Sorry, Iron Man is too cool. It's too cool.
I love RoboCop. RoboCop was one of my favorite movies as a kid. Gene Wilder or Johnny Depp?
Johnny Depp, because why is the rum always gone? I love the Pirate of the Caribbean movies.
They are very good. They are very good. Okay, Portal or Undertale?
Oh man, that's a tough one. That's a mean one because Undertale is amazing, but I absolutely love the comedy of Portal. Right? I'm gonna have to go with Portal because, well, yeah, I love the interactions in Portal.
It's funny because when I asked that question, in my mind, my process was, okay, is he going to go for the more analytical game, or is he going to go for the more emotionally depth focused game? And then you kind of went funny versus, you probably still think the emotional depth. So I think it's funny how that those things get interpreted. Or when I say Gene Wilder or Johnny Depp, the thing that comes to my mind immediately is Willy Wonka.
That's true.
So I just love how people interpret these things.
Yeah.
Your friends just dropped in to play video games. What are you playing?
Video games, video games, video games. What would I want to play with my friends that wouldn't end our friendship? um, let's see here. I would probably want to go with something collaborative. I mean, we could always do golf with your friends, just Sorry, that's a bit of an in joke. The first time Tier and I played golf with your friends, I absolutely crushed him. Like I won like 20 levels out of like the 25. So we never played that game again. Okay, we'll go with that. Golf with our friends.
Golf with friends is so much fun, but the thing is that some of those levels are just flat out unfair.
Yeah,
it's just
the chaos.
You're just messing with us at this point, aren't you?
At least it's not that chained game, because you know me in platformers, right? I'm cursed with gravity.
Okay, chess or poker?
Chess. I actually like chess. My dad is a monster at chess. My brothers and I try to gang up against him, and like even with our 3 combined, we can't beat my dad. So yeah, Tier and I actually played shogi for the first time. We had no idea what was going on, but after a while I went, wait a minute, I've had you in chess check for like the past 5 turns. And then I pulled one of the pieces and placed it. So yeah, chess.
Okay, home cooked meal or restaurant?
Home cooked. I love cooking. Cooking is one of my hobbies and passions. I love being able to take like good produce and then turn it into great food. I just love that. It's also very economical.
Oh, of course. I think that the most economical food that you can make yourself, I think, is smoked food. And I say that because yesterday I made 3 massive smoked pork shoulder, and it's sitting in the fridge right now. It is delicious. I tried a bit of it earlier.
Pulled pork is one of my favorites as well. Oh man, yeah. Now I'm getting hungry. Thanks.
Interesting segue. My next question: you're hungry, and the only place to eat is a gas station. What do you get?
What do I get? Oh man, well, I love spicy food as well, so I'll get the spiciest burrito they've got.
You're in an amusement park. What ride do you make a beeline for?
I've never been on a roller coaster before, so it's because I was small as a kid. Okay, I was always too short to ride. I was a very, very small kid. So yeah, I would go for a roller coaster because I've never actually been on one before.
You've never been on a roller coaster. Wow.
Nope.
I don't think I've ever met someone who hasn't been on a roller coaster.
But then again, given my reputation with gravity, maybe a roller coaster is not a good thing.
Well, no, yeah, you're not jumping on the roller coaster. You should be okay.
No, I'm fully expecting some kind of Final Destination type experience.
Oh dear. Okay, if you could go anywhere in the world right now, where would you go?
I want to go to America so I can visit my friends, but I also really want to tour Japan one day. I want to go and visit all the temples and such. Like one of my bucket list things is that I want to go and sit in a hot spring while it's snowing. So I'm on like the top of a mountainside while it's snowing, but enjoying a hot spring. That's like one of my life like bucket list goals. Yeah.
Yeah, Japan would be a very nice place to go. Uh, do you drive?
Yes, I have my driver's license, but I don't have a car at the moment. So I essentially just walk everywhere, which is also quite healthy.
Hmm.
I love swimming. I used to do competitive swimming, so yeah.
So you swim everywhere? No, I'm joking.
Oh no no, I've started going back to the gym recently, so I've been getting back into swimming. So I end up walking like several kilometers just to get to a gym, so I can swim several kilometers, so that I can then walk several kilometers back home. Healthy.
So what's the latest you've ever stayed at a party?
Um, okay, we got another fun story here. My life has never been boring. That's the one thing. I have like extreme luck. So, both amazing and terrible things happen to me. With this one, I'll consider it a bit of both. So, it was the after party of a play, and I was 14. I was like 42 kilograms, which is about 84 pounds for Americans. I was very small. And I was like, oh, there's free Coke. So I was drinking the Coke. And then the one person at the party was like, Jono, you do realize that has vodka in it? I'm like, that explains why everything's dizzy. And then, what's it? I then woke up at like 5 in the morning outside of the house. And there was like one girl in one arm and there was another girl in the other arm. And I'm just like, I need to go home. So I called my parents and I'm like, yeah, party's over. Can you pick me up, please? But yeah, I will say that was the longest stay at a party until 5 in the morning.
And then they bring you home and you're wobbling all over the place. Oh, you must have stayed too late. You must have stayed up too late. You're like, I don't remember.
Yeah, I think I was more just like, I'm tired and just pretend to be tired. It's like, oh man, not doing that again.
Okay, do you ever get lost while you're going home?
No, I have like a weird superpower, which is kind of like a built-in GPS. Like the moment I've been somewhere, I can always find my way back. It's kind of like my brain takes like snapshots of like various landmarks. So then even if I retrace like a town like 10 years later, I still know like all the roads and where to go and everything. It's a weird ability, but it's helped out a few times.
Yeah. And what smell reminds you of home?
Ooh, Mom's cooking is definitely a good one because she was an amazing cook. She was a professional chef, like 5-star chef, and then she became a fencer, like a professional fencer, and she was invited to the country where I was born. So she was good enough to be invited over to teach other fencers, and then she became a gymnast teacher and then a paramedic. So my mom's amazing. And that's probably where I get all my extreme luck from, is and then crazy stories. But yeah, my mom's cooking is holds a special place in my heart. So yeah, that's probably why I also love cooking myself. I try to take up her recipes.
So when you go home, what's she making for you?
Ooh, bolognese. Her bolognese is the best. What's it? Every time somebody's had the bolognese bolognese recipe, they've always just gone, "This is amazing." I'm like, yeah. Thanks, Mom. She shows up to my streams every now and then, especially the cooking stream. She shows up to criticize. The one time, like the last time I was cooking, she was sending me WhatsApp messages on my phone while I was using my model. Like she was sending me like advice and like things I'm doing wrong and what I should be doing while I'm live and streaming and cooking at the same time. And Chad is just like, "Hi, Mom. We definitely don't bully your son."
Jono, thank you very much for coming on the show today. You can see Jono Funk's new cover song, Thunderbringer, from the Epic Musical on his channel, which will be linked in the description. Thank you all for coming out tonight to watch this game. Tonight, you could be watching it during the day, I don't know. Did you have anything else you wanted to leave off on, Jono?
I'm going to be doing some tabletop role-playing games soon. I also create my own rule systems and everything. So I'm gonna start. I've been looking at a lot of streamers that do role-playing games, and I want to see if I can try and do something different or unique. So yeah, that's my current experiment. Is I want to try and do some tabletop RPGs as well now. So yeah, that'll be coming soon.
Awesome. Thank you once again for coming on, and I'm going to call it here. Good night, everybody.
Thank you for inviting me, and bye bye, everybody.
Bye bye.